with Paul Daner, Mark Shalafoo, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush live, that dad life and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, all right? It's the Growler Friday show. It's Who Dey Light.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of Who Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr., Mark Shalafoo here with you on a delightful Friday into a quick turnaround where tomorrow it's game day and we're doing a live show down at Nation Kitchen, BetMGM. It's everything is condensed, the holidays, the condensed week, but we're still here for you.
Absolutely. This is a dead week for a lot of people. And with the short shelf life of this one, this is for the real fans. The real fans of this show, you get this extra content, this extra show. You might be driving to like your 5th Christmas celebration of the holiday, and you need something to throw on in the car that the kids will, of course, enjoy. That's Who Dey Light. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for.
What
Fun
flag
for
are
the
you
whole
flying
family
right now? Is it still Santa?
Yeah, it's a tough spot right now because I'm still holding on to the Santa flag because the lights are up. I think we're still in Christmas week. Like you said, people are still celebrating.
Yep.
So I feel like it still deserves credit. I have a New Year's flag, Happy New Year flag, of course, but I can't go too early. I'm not ready to turn the page to New Year yet. So I feel like it's too early to start wishing people a Happy New Year. I mean, look, we still got plenty of time to make some things happen in 2024. Let's not wish it away.
Yeah,
let's
we don't want to
hang on to the good times.
Don't want to start thinking about resolutions yet. Yeah, it's not time for that. It's still cookie time.
No, there's still time to cause problems before we have to resolve them. And that's where I'm kind of at. So I'm hanging on to Santa, I think, through the weekend. I feel like Monday will probably be a time to turn the page to the Happy New Year flag. So we'll get there. We'll get there, though.
Well, we still have another weekend of bad food decisions to make. No better place to make some of those than at our live show Saturday before the game.
Yes.
A lot of good food down there at Nation Kitchen.
Dude, they've got the good food. You can drink too much, and you can do it on a great deal. Get your $3 Cincy Lights. Eat one of their delicious burgers. That queso burger gets me every time. I love it. You can get whatever you want down there. We're going to be starting at noon before the game. So if it's still rainy out there, I know there's like potential for some rain in the forecast. Maybe it'll be nice once the game gets closer. But if you want to get down there, get going early, you want to stay dry, you want to win a bunch of stuff, hang out at our show. It's going to be an awesome time as always. I'm going to buy someone's bar tab. I think that's But it's a little bit of a gamble for everybody. You show up in there, you don't know if you're going to win. We're going to have a way for people to be entered in the win a bar tab contest, and it's your bar tab at the moment we read the winner. That's what I'm buying. So there's no like, oh, I won the bar tab shots for everyone. You can buy shots for everyone and hope maybe this will be the bar tab that gets bought, but maybe not. Maybe you have to own it. So I'm gonna buy a bar tab. We're gonna have a bunch of Cincy shirts to give out. The Katanas shirt, if you haven't seen those are awesome. The new Superman shirts, we're hoping to have some of those. A Graders shipper, our great friends at Graders are going to give away another shipper if you're trying to sneak in last minute to send some to someone that you know somewhere across the United States. You can ship them some delicious Graders. We'll have some more Growl Pal shirts. All of that. We'll answer questions. We'll be talking about the game. Me, Mark, Jay, just like we did last week. It's going to be a great time, and we hope to see y'all down there.
Yeah, it's like a party atmosphere, and we're getting down to the end of the season. So come down, hang out with us one last time, bring some friends down there, and it's always a chill vibe down there, and that's what I like about it. It's a good time. It's not like you're going to be just one of 10,000 people in there. It's our crew in there, and that's what I like about it. It's always good people there.
Growl Pal folks in the house. So we hope to see you down there. Our last live show, unless Mark, they find a way. The 1%ers are here. DVOA has the Bengals down to 1% to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, we might not be done yet.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't rule it out.
Don't rule it out. Don't rule it out just yet. 1% still exists, and that's why Saturday's game still means something for the Bengals. All right. On that note, what is your favorite story of the week, Mark?
Well, my wife made me watch Joe Burrow mic'd up, and he seemed like in pretty good spirits against the Browns. I want to know what the vibes are. This is a topic that's come up game after game, month after month this year. We mocked it mercilessly during training camp and those reports, and it turned out to be a bigger deal maybe than we thought. We've seen mad Joe Burrow. We've seen sad Joe Burrow, and he was a little bit more upbeat last week. With the playoffs at such a slim percentage now, I mean, there's not as much to play for maybe these last two games. How are the vibes right now? I need a vibes report from this
Vibes
team.
report. I think everybody's kind of leaning into the look, one game for it's a playoff game for us. I think everyone's kind of leaning into that we still have something to play for. Finally, they really haven't, because it seemed such a long shot. But now it's like, look, you're playing to stay alive. If you win this game, the Cincinnati Bengals are not eliminated. They will be in the hunt board in week 18, So I think the elimination side of this makes it easy to lean into playoff game, home finale, 3-game win streak, good vibes off of that has people feeling good and confident, and it gives them a little bit more hope that this could maybe look different than a lot of the games have looked against good teams this year. And I think that's where they're kind of leaning into. And then you got it's Christmas time. The season's almost over. That helps. That always helps with long season vibes, where you're like, okay, see, the end is near. Everybody's just fighting to get to that part, and it knows, Cancun on 3 is right around the corner, so it's, you can start to feel it, but one last real shot at going out and winning a game, one of those pesky wins against a good team. Still waiting on that. So week 17, here they come.
Yeah, this could be it. And it's good that the vibes are still there then. And even that small 1% has got to help with that, because it would be so depressing. I thought that watching Cleveland, of just like being in the hopeless situation for months, that's tough to take, especially when you don't see a clear path out. Watching Chicago last night, I mean, it's just such an ugly situation for some of these teams. And I don't know what their future is. At least with the Bengals, they have a pretty huge offseason coming up. Nobody's going to deny that. One of the biggest ever in the history of the franchise. But you still have your quarterback. You've got the best receiver in football this season. And Trey Hendrickson, you still have at least one more year of him, even though there might have to be a decision made there. There's a lot more hope and positivity. So if we can kind of limp to the end of the season with some illusion that we might be able to get in the playoffs and keep everybody focused and having fun and playing hard, I'll take that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, considering where you thought the conversation would be right now, they've delivered one last big home game for fans that, let's be honest, they kind of deserve a little moment. Like, they deserve to have a nice Saturday. Okay.
Yes, they do.
Look, you've been kind of a deadbeat dad all year. You haven't been around enough. You've had kind of a bad attitude a lot of the time and been a little snippy with the kids. Show up at Christmas, bring the pony. All right. Like, there's only one way to make up for it now. And that's to show up with the big gift. Give them something to feel good about before it just goes straight to resolutions.
Yeah, because they're never going to forget the Patriots. That's always going to be out there. No. But the pony would help them, think about it a little bit differently. And there's going to be a time for all those tough conversations, playing the blame game about where this season went wrong. The front office will take their heat once the elimination finally happens. But for now, yeah, it's one game that matters. We're not thinking about the Patriots. If you're going to come through with the pony, that'll at least put some good spirits around here for another week.
Yeah, they had 7 birthdays this year, and you didn't show up to any of them. It's like, can you just show up to the last one, just so it feels better at the end? Just one time, need you to show up to the birthday and be there and have a good gift. So, to the Bengals, trying not to be the deadbeat dads. It's a big Saturday for them with the fans, without question.
What is your favorite story?
So I'm excited about JaMarr Chase versus Patrick Surtain. I mean, you've got arguably 2 of the best at their position in the league. I mean, Surtain certainly is unbelievable, and he's arguably CB1 in the league. A great player. He from Alabama, has gone up against Chase when he was at LSU. They went up against each other in Denver. When he was in Denver back in the 21 season. They've seen each other before, but I mean, they're at the peak of their powers right now. I mean, JaMarr is clear wide receiver 1 in the league this year. And then, Denver has had so much success playing off of Surtain's cover skills. And so I'm excited to see that matchup when it happens. But the funny side of this is, like, didn't Jerry Jeudy just go for like 260 a couple of weeks ago and just running free in the secondary? And I wonder how much of this game for JaMarr Chase isn't necessarily going to be about this matchup. It's going to be about the one thing that has separated him from the other wide receivers this year, and that's his ability to go and move everywhere and be a moving target before the snap. So you can't just focus on him with one guy or one double or one cloud or whatever. And that's been the separator for him. That's been how they've been able to get him the ball into more dangerous spots and in the space and in coverage mismatches that they like, is because of that. So the ability to move away from that guy. And yesterday he's kind of like, look, bro, you don't matter. I love the matchup. You can match me up however you want to. I'm going to go do whatever I got to do. It doesn't matter. And, he's kind of pointing out that he's in that zone right now. I'm already all pro, was what he had to say. We was asked about would all pro mean something to him he's already got it. And I'm buying that.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's he's running away. He's not just winning the Triple Crown. He's running away with the Triple Crown. No one within sniffing distance of him in terms of receptions and yards and receiving touchdowns. Going to be the 5th player ever to pull that off, assuming he's able to pull that off over the next couple of weeks. I don't feel like we hear enough Offensive Player of the Year talk about JaMarr Chase. Now, Saquon Barkley is the obvious front runner. He's over 2,000 scrimmage yards. He's having an unbelievable year. He's averaging 122 yards a game on the ground. Like, Saquon has been incredible, and this is not about disrespect for him, but the rarity of what JaMarr is doing. I mean, 5th ever. He's on a list with Rice, Sterling Sharp, Steve Smith, and Cooper Kupp. That's it. Those are the only people to ever do this. I'm surprised we don't hear more Offensive Player of the Year talking. In the BetMGM lines, I mean, they have Saquon as a runaway favorite to win the award, and he probably does. And no one would scoff at that. But I feel like there's not enough juice behind what JaMarr's been able to do as teams try to take him away.
And it feels like a record thing, right? Like the same thing with Burrow and putting up MVP numbers. Because the team's not going to be in the playoffs, it feels like they get discounted a little bit. But he's having a monster season. Like that's crazy. Like the fact that he is going to kind of run away with it. And it does make you think too, if you're a fan, like, hey, wow, they did unlock a whole nother level to his game this season. You can move him all over. Now he is clearly the best receiver in football, putting up a historic season. Sure would have been nice to lock him down with a long-term contract. If only that hadn't gotten fumbled at the 1-yard line like that. It's just that price tag's going to go up and up, and he deserves every bit of it for sure.
No question. And JaMarr Chase is going to get all his money. It's just a matter of when. And that's just more fun in the offseason we get to have, is talking about that over and over and over again. And especially if it reaches the point of doesn't show up at OTAs, doesn't show up at the program, and then you get into training camp, and then it jeopardizes the first game of the season again. Wouldn't that be great if you could do that all over again? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, you know what's great for vibes though would be just giving him that money right away as soon as the season's over. Just do it then, and then
I said that the best thing they could do. It'd be the best thing they could do. Just open the off season before you even get to the first Monday after the off. Just be like, this is the locker clean out press conference is going to be JaMarr Chase signing a contract. That would be something. I have a feeling that's not going to be the case.
No, it's not.
So that's all right. We move on. Can I rank a couple of your tweets from this week?
Sure.
I have a couple of tweets ranked this week. The one, playing the Browns is what I thought playing the Patriots would be like. And
what it should have been like.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I mean, that is exactly what it should have been like when you play the Patriots. It should have been that easy, you know.
That's what I expected. Week 1 was just a runaway victory. You have fun. Guys are laughing. You're throwing, big touchdown passes. The other team is hilariously turning the ball over in different ways. And it's never really, the outcome's never in doubt. That is what I thought we were getting from that Patriots game.
Yeah. One of the teams was hilariously turning the ball over in different ways in that game. Unfortunately,
yes, they
it wasn't as much the Patriots. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. But the Browns delivered. The Browns delivered what you hoped that they would be as a team that has no thought of trying to win games right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. I like that this one has just kind of shown back up. You just have the ability to just kind of retweet this one. And that's, remember when everyone thought CJ Stroud was a better quarterback than Joe Burrow? That was a wild week. It was. I mean, you can just keep reposting this every time that the Texans play. They're such a mess right now.
It is so wild.
Yeah, they're such a mess. Joe Mixon has fallen off a cliff at the end of this season. It's funny though, the Mixon thing has been almost in lockstep with the rise of Chase Brown. They've sort of happened at the exact same time. Mixon was on top of the world early in the season, and he's gone into the tank right as Chase Brown has become a star in this league right now. So, you never know, man. Stick around for a couple weeks and the whole storyline can change. But it's funny how that's happened.
There was some real vitriol out there too from Bengals fans. How could you look at what Mixon's doing? He was a star. We should have been building around what he can do.
It wasn't just Bengals fans saying that. It wasn't just Bengals fans saying. They were very reputable national people saying that.
And Chase Brown it's been amazing what he's been able to do. I know that you can't really give him that many touches long term and expect him to hold up, but the fact that he has been producing at that level has been such a fun thing to watch too. And again, nothing against Joe Mixon. He was great here. Did what he needed to do, whatever, didn't fumble the ball at key points against big teams, which we saw a few times this year. But yeah, he ran his course here, and it's fine to move on from a player like that. And I know that when he was just on fire the first 6 weeks of the season, it made it a lot harder for fans, but it's a lot easier now that we've got a clear running back that is producing and playing great.
Specifically, look at just the production on first down this year. That was very much a Joe Mixon down, establish the run, hand it to Joe, get him his touches, and try to stay efficient. This year, it's a passing down. It's whatever. It's fine. It's more opportunities for Burrow to scramble and make Houdini plays, and he can always check it down to Chase, or when they do run it to Chase, he's able to bust a few for some explosive runs. It changes everything when you're not constantly in 2nd and 8 and 2nd and 9, because you've run the ball. You're giving more opportunities for Burrow to do what he does best and just let it loose. And so that's been where the major difference I think you see in that what they wanted it to be. It's why they wanted to get away from into this style, was because specifically first, second down, and the ability to just give Joe more shots, to take shots. And that has proven itself out this year.
Definitely one of the worst takes of the preseason, though, were the people that ranked Stroud ahead of Burrow. And that has just been a laughably bad take as the season has progressed.
Yeah, and there's no question that is a tough scene. You know what's not a tough scene, though? Every single time we get to see Eric Stanyo, our guy, Keller Williams Realtors, has the #1 real estate YouTube channel in Cincinnati, and he's your guy. It's the Stanyo Clanyo. You know him. You love him. If you know anybody that needs a house, is selling a house, or just wants to know something about the Cincinnati markets, direct them to our guy, Eric Stanyo. He came down to the live show. He was down there. We played Are You Smarter Than a Stanyo last week.
That was a popular game.
It was a popular
bring that
game.
Back sometime.
Yeah,
we brought him on the
spot. We put him on the spot, and he was really close on a couple of the questions, and then the actual competitors had to figure out if he was just really close, just so close, or actually got it. And everybody came away a winner when they played Are You Smarter Than a Stanyo? Because that's what happens. That's what happens when you get to deal with our guy.
He is definitely a lot more accurate with all of his housing advice and tips and that than he is in Bengals trivia. Although you did ask, the questions were tough.
Questions are hard. I didn't take it easy on him.
Tackles, like that's the big thing for him to lock down. JaMarr Chase touchdowns. I feel like he should have had that one, but he wasn't quite as close there. But if you ask advice on buying or selling a house, he's going to be 100% for you every time.
That's right. So go to youtube.com at Team Stanyo, SZTANYO, if you want to go to the YouTube channel. And of course, if you know someone who's looking to buy or sell, email directly info@teamstanyo.com or go to www.teamstanyo.com to connect. All right, Mark, I believe it's time for us to dive into the questions. What do we got today?
So we still have a few, even though it's been a holiday week, and still had a few Growl Pals checking into the Growler podcast at gmail.com. And this is a question that I've been thinking about too. People want to know what's going on with Sheldon Rankins. This illness has kept him on the sidelines for months, and they're worried. Is it contagious? Is this something that's going to bring down the whole region? What is this mysterious illness that has beleaguered him? And it seems like the team is fighting through some illness right now too. It's hitting everybody lately. It feels like everyone's half sick. But
yeah, whenever somebody else shows up on the injury report with illness, everyone's like, I hope it's not what Sheldon has.
Yeah.
know? Well, I think you end up in a little bit of an area of talking about someone's specific medical condition that is a place that you can't really go. I mean, he's around. He's been out there on the side. So living, all appears mostly well. But it's something that is sort of really up to him, and in terms of how much he can get through the worries that he has with what's going on with him. So everyone has to kind of be vague about it. And so it's I think everybody, as fans of the team or whatever, everybody certainly feels very left in the dark. But I think you can see at the situation that, it's doesn't look like Sheldon's going to be back this week or next week. And that's kind of been the state of things of, I don't know, like it's this thing that he's going through right now. And it's kind of up to him how he's handling it. And so I think that's kind of where it's at. But yeah, it appears that his season is gonna have ended when he popped up right before the game in LA is going to be where it ends.
I mean, that's wild, but illness can really, really hamper a guy. But it is so weird. You just don't know the details. And I get not getting into somebody's personal health stuff or whatever, but because he didn't go on IR, everyone's like, what is this illness? It was fun to make fun of at first. Like, oh, he's out with an illness, this guy.
Yeah.
But as it drags on, you're like, oh my God, is he okay? Is he on a hospital bed? Like, how bad is Sheldon Rankins? So it sounds like he's
around again. He's around. And I think it's just, it's something that he's dealing with right now and, unable to go. But yeah, his, certainly a disappointment in every way, shape, and form, whether he was on or off the field in Cincinnati during his time. He still has technically one more year on his contract, but I can't imagine any world where he's back next year.
And, just a good reminder to everybody this holiday season to make sure you're washing your hands.
Yeah.
Down and spread communicable diseases. I mean, they've got a couple other guys fighting through illness, right? Who is it? It was Osai and somebody else is dealing with some illness stuff.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah, no, you have a couple of those guys showed up with illness, but they're going to be okay. They look like they're going to be good to go for Saturday.
Our next one. Hope you gents had an above average Christmas. I did. It was swell. Quick question: going into the Browns Bengals game, Myles Garrett spoke openly about wanting to win. Well, Cleveland hates that. Trey Hendrickson seems primarily interested in getting as much money as possible. Bengals hate paying guarantees and contracts. Cleveland loves overpaying players. Not sure about the logistics, but what do you feel about a Garrett Hendrickson swap?
How do I feel about it? I mean, if you're the Bengals, you feel great about that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. No doubt. That's not, I mean, I don't see a world where that makes any sense. They would be trading the Myles Garrett if it ended up going that route. And we talked about this with Zach Jackson lead up to the Browns game. I mean, if it ended up going that way, that would be the hardest of hard resets, and recognizing that this is going to be the deep rebuild where they have to take their medicine for a year or two in order to offset the Watson contract and get their roster to where it can, function with a ton of draft picks and make sure they get their next quarterback or whatever that's going to be a rookie deal. And so that would be trading for picks. Like they're not going to be looking for another guy who's the same age, actually older than Myles Garrett, and slightly less productive. They're both great players. So this isn't, I'm not trying to turn this into Garrett versus Hendrickson, but I don't, that's not what they would be looking for. That they would be trading Myles Garrett for picks and young players, not for another similar type of player.
I don't know if I buy into that characterization of Trey Hendrickson either, that he's just kind of primarily interested in getting as much money as possible. Is that how he strikes you?
No. I mean, I think he would love to get more money, but if he was interested in getting as much money as possible, he could have, gone full sitting out throughout camp and most of the trade request thing happened, and he's always kind of unhappy because he has outplayed his contract, and I get that.
Absolutely.
But inevitably he's shown up every year and played at a high level and played with the same tenacity and played through injury. I mean, he dies on the field like every third game, it seems like, but he goes and plays through it. So I don't, he if it was about getting the most money and using his leverage, you wouldn't see the seasons that he has inevitably produced for them.
Absolutely. Our next one's from Kayla. She says, do you think T is going to play this week and they just have to list him? And she says, by the way, love listening to the Growler podcast. Thanks, Kayla.
Well, thanks, Kayla. Flattery gets you everywhere. Certainly gets you a question. I think, T listed his question which day he was limited every day this week. I would expect T to go. It's sort of one of those they have to list them. They're just managing guys at this point. Like they're just trying to get these guys through the season. It's everybody's got something that's hurting them. They're playing at such a high level when they get out there, get them so they get the base installation work in and then hold them out. Now the questionable listing instead of not being listed at all does keep your antennas up a little bit for pregame tomorrow, but the indications, it does appear that he should be good to go on Saturday against the Broncos.
And honestly, I mean, he's in the spot now, right? Like where you don't even want T. Higgins practicing too much. That's where he always gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason. He doesn't need, these guys don't need all that practice right now. They need all the base reps on whatever they're doing that's new or something that needs a little bit of work. You don't need him out there going every day full out and putting anything at risk. And I think that's kind of a bit of a compromise that it certainly appears to be that the staff and T have kind of made. Like, look, how about no more practice injuries right before we're about to be done with this season? And so he's been held back in a few of these practices, whether it be limited or just staying out completely out of a few of them, just to be like, look, be ready for game day. And he's been plenty ready for game day.
Switching to the defensive side of the ball, which if you are looking at just the past couple weeks, which member of this beleaguered defense do you think has improved their stock the most over these last game or two?
I think Jordan Battle has helped himself for sure. I mean, he's brought a lot of energy. Charlie and I talked about that, talked about him for a while on the Rewatch Reaction show on Monday. And just some of the plays you're seeing him make now, where he's just aggressively showing confidence, reading it, seeing it, firing off, making plays. You're seeing him play with that confidence and that juice and that energy that everybody kind of feeds off of. He looks like a leader out there. They need more guys. They need more players that look and feel like that, where you see them making plays. So I think Jordan Battle is certainly one. I think McKinley Jackson has made a couple of plays in recent weeks where he's shown up and shown that he could be certainly part of at least a rotation going forward as one of those defensive tackles in the future. Really, Osai, obviously he has bubbled up a little bit. He's going to be a free agent, so whatever happens with him, but he started to play better. I think all of those young defensive linemen have had some moments, and against some real guys. I mean, it hasn't been like totally taking advantage of poor players. You saw Chris Jenkins, another one we spotlighted on the rewatch. he had 2 sacks last week, and they come against Bitonio and Wyatt Teller. I mean, really solid players. I mean, high-end caliber starting guards in this league and making great plays against them. So I think, that's kind of been the core group that has shown up. The one that's under the radar that we spent a lot of time beating up this year and has quietly sort of stabilized is Cam Taylor-Britt. I mean, he's been benched multiple times, and it was sort of now he's got to play. He's played some of his best football this really since that DJ Turner injury on the day he got benched in LA. He's really kind of calmed down and been a stabilizing force, and that can be really good, for him. I think when you start thinking about next year, you think about you're comfortable with Cam Taylor-Britt being out there as number 2 with insurance behind him, whether it's in a competition with DJ Turner and Dax Hill or whatever. They still need one more high-end corner to come in there and kind of fix that room, I think, in my opinion. But I think you're much more comfortable because of what's happened in recent weeks with the idea of Cam Taylor-Britt being part of a starting solution next year.
Yeah, you got to hope you get something out of the trio there, between Dax and DJ and CTB. So you got to have a couple guys emerge from that to solidify that cornerback room. How about an ambush light question?
Let's go ambush light. Let's do it.
We're coming up on the end of the year, so this is a kind of fitting. What's been your favorite Who Dey Light topic of the year?
Oh man. A retrospective. We could have gone full clip show on this. I could go back and we could have a montage of some of our favorite crazy tangents, but I have a clear number 1 for me. It still tickles me to this day. And I hope it shows up. I hope it shows up again in 2025. I don't ever want it to go away. And that was the TV sale. The TV sale. Hamilton County selling all the old TVs from inside Paycor Stadium and people having to show up with cash only and strong men in order to load it up into their cars and get an old tube TV that was inside of Paycor Stadium for 20 or 50 or 70 bucks or whatever it was, whatever the costs were for these cheap TVs. And they would line up on a Saturday morning with some big dudes and some trucks and some cash and alert everybody. Hey, everyone, that's if you're looking to rob people, there's a lot of people just holding cash in a line. And also, if you just need some TVs, get down there. And then all these people showed up and they did it again. And I love it. I love everything about it. You can say you have one of the old tube TVs from Paycor Stadium and you paid $20 for it.
I mean, people kept coming out for it. I feel like they should have just kept having those, like a Black Friday TV sale. Everybody show up for that. Forget going to Target and, the big box stores. You could show up to Paycor in a parking lot on Black Friday and get a TV for $5 instead of $20. That would have been pure pandemonium. They got to elevate for next season.
You don't want to find a way to get through whatever red tape exists to get it to schools in the county. That would be terrible. No, sell it for $20 to anybody that shows up. And that's where you go. Love it. I loved it. That was my favorite. Did you have a favorite?
My favorite is from a happier time, probably in the spring when we were doing the fan initiation rituals, when we had people deciding what price would a bandwagon fan have to pay to jump onto this team. And that was a good month for us. We had a lot of fun back and forth with that. And that was during a time when we thought this was going to be a great season. And there would be a lot of bandwagon fans interested in becoming temporary Bengals fans as the Bengals march to the New Orleans Super Bowl. And, it's a little bit different vibe right now for the bandwagon fans. It's a little bit easier bar to clear if they're going to start becoming fans of this team, since it's not really looking promising to going anywhere this season. But that was probably my favorite from the spring.
Yeah, nobody's interested in jumping into the vat of chili or any of the other suggestions that were thrown our way during that period. That was a good month run, whereas every week that somebody had a new idea.
Yeah,
and so I appreciate it. Everybody was on board. That was the birth of the Growl Pals, man. People really started rising up. The people that's another favorite, I think, was our long search for the name of people that love the podcast. And we eventually just ended up sort of resigned to Growl Pal. I feel like we fought and felt like nothing ever hit perfect. And then the moment you started just saying it naturally, you're like, wait, that's it.
Yeah.
That one makes sense. Growl Pal just fit everybody. And now we got the Growl Pal shirts.
Yep.
Anybody that loves the pod, you can go to Cincy shirts. You can use Growler Pod and get percentages off if you prefer to do that. Of course, you always get the promo code, or just show up to any of our shows and we've got Growl Pal shirts for you. So just come on down. But yeah,
those things have to happen.
Growl Pal has hit. Yeah, it's really attached itself well.
It's got to be organic like that. That's how, cool nicknames break through. And we've had fun with other nicknames. We had the Brown nicknames for a while because we thought it was going to be Orlando and Trent holding it down this season. And that changed a little bit with the draft pick and especially with the injury situation this year. But the Brownsers, that was a fun moment too.
That was a fun moment in time when you thought that was going to be a thing. Yeah, it did not last.
Growler Bet this week is what?
The Growler Bet this week is going to be JaMarr Chase needs 5 more receptions to break TJ Houshmandzadeh's franchise record for receptions in a season with 112. He's gone. Jay had this yesterday. I believe 11 straight games with at least 5 receptions. So feels likely. So our Growler Bet was time of game that JaMarr breaks the receptions record. So that is the official snap time on the game book that JaMarr breaks the receptions record. And we're given a buffer of 5 seconds in either direction. So you've got a 10-second window to try to hit and see if you can get it right on the time that JaMarr breaks the receptions record. So the time of his 5th reception on Saturday against Denver.
So what are some of the more popular guesses right now? Are people just going like deep second half?
Well, we have our standard crew that is dedicated to one thing, and that is finding a way for 69 to be the answer. So we do have 69 seconds left in the second quarter. I believe was the first one that showed up from our guy Glenn Hammerly. So he's already into it. I got a couple of those that have shown up so far. I'm seeing a lot in the second quarter, but yeah, third quarter. You want to go against the grain sometimes. So. Get those submissions into the growlerpodcast@gmail.com, and that could be another bar tab that I could get for you, just like the one I'm going to give out on Saturday.
Yeah, you could have double bar tabs here. It's a great place to bring some friends and have some drinks. So, come down there, drink a lot at the live show. Maybe you get that one covered. Then you put in the last second Growler Bet, and then you get next week covered too. It's just perfect.
Absolutely. What's next comedy life for you?
New Year's Eve, Toledo Funny Bone. If you have any friends that live in Toledo, if you live in Toledo, come out to that. That's going to be a fun one. Tell friends to go to it. It's going to be a great way to the end of the year. And then I go all throughout the Midwest in January. I'm going up to Michigan. And let's see, February 15th is my next time locally at Commonwealth Sanctuary. Tickets are on sale now for that. So buy tickets to that one. And if you live in Bloomington, Indiana, that's on sale now on February 13th. It's Valentine's Day week. So that's a great club, the Comedy Attic. I'm headlining that. So that is on sale as well. Go buy those tickets.
Do you have to put together like a Valentine's Day set that's all like date and love centric? Do you go down that way, or do you just sprinkle a couple in?
I'm sure that I'll probably go a little bit more relationship centric, but I'll also just do a little bit more crowd work probably about that. Once I get the vibe for what the room is like, is it a lot of couples that are dating earlier in the relationships? Let's see if we can prod it and just end it tonight so they can finish it before February 14th and find the fault lines and really just lean into that and just kind of kill the vibe for them at the enjoyment of everyone else. There's got to be one sacrificial couple.
Yeah, I mean
we'll play it by
the way it goes. That's the way it goes. I love that. Well, all our Toledo Growl pals, make sure you get out. You have something to do on New Year's Eve. Get on out there to the Toledo Funny Bone. Let's see, dad life time. Christmas season is ripe for dad life. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it out there. I have one. I have a couple, but I have one I want to start with.
What's yours?
So this time of year, as people that listen to all the podcasts know, is quite busy for me. It's a touch busy time of year. We've got a lot going on. There's a lot of content on the feed. There's a lot that I'm writing for The Athletic. We're getting ready for the off season. You've got all the normal Christmas stuff that's going on with family time. So my wife does an incredible job of taking the full lead on the acquisition of gifts, the dealing with all the gifts, the family members that want to know what to get the kids and all of that stuff. Like, an incredible job. Everything is laying out there underneath the tree. Christmas morning happens and everybody's happy. And then it's sort of like in baseball. She's the starting pitcher that went 8 innings, right? Like, and just dealt. And someone's got to put away the 1-0 lead. And I come in like I'm the closer. I'm the Christmas closer, right? I've been sitting, I've been kind of just hanging out in the bullpen, doing my own thing or whatever. I'm watching the game from out there, but my attention isn't totally on it until I know it's time to warm up. I've got a feel for what I'm going to have to do. And then I get called in from the bullpen. I bring out my big garbage bags, and my toolbox. Yep. And it's like, now it's time. It's time to clean up everything. It's time to put together this nightstand. We got to put together all this other stuff. I got all my tools out. We're going to clean the whole room. We're going to get everything set up. We're going to get it put in the place that it needs to be. And my wife is going to kick it in the dugout with her mimosas, reading like gifts that were for the kids, reading the Taylor Swift book that my daughter got, making her way through that, and just enjoy the fact, the 8 innings that she put in. And I like the setup. I mean, for me, I gotta do 1 inning of work, 1 inning of hard work. And I'm in for Christmas Day closing material if it means that you get that type of performance from the starter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, you get to bask in the glory. Setup. My wife, the same thing. She's got to handle the present lists and dealing with the different aunts and uncles that want to buy things for the kids. What do they need? All right, she's going to get that, whatever. And then, you just come through with that trash bag and you get to feel like the hero because you actually put the batteries into the little toy. Yeah. And now it's like, you're the hero. You're stealing the glory. You get that final out. And then, your arms are up in the air. That's the picture they're going to use on the story.
Look me go.
And
that's right.
Yeah, it was my win today. And so like, I do feel like you get a little bit of stolen valor from that standpoint, but I'm here for it. I'm here for being
no question.
Closer.
Look, I got to steal valor. I got to steal valor wherever I can get it, okay? So that's how I got to steal valor on Christmas, and that's what I'm doing. And everybody's comfortable with it. It's not stolen if everybody's in agreement that this is a good setup, and I think we got a good setup.
For me, like we were trying to go into just a normal traditional Christmas season. We got hit with the illnesses. I talked about that. And as we were coming out of that, this was Christmas Eve. The girls are making cookies, and it took our youngest is 5. And it took every single other person in the family to independently blame the 5-year-old for farting before we finally realized there was a gas leak in the house. She took a lot of unnecessary heat where she's like, I didn't, I swear. And everyone's like, yeah, right. Come on. What's wrong? Get it together. And no, it was a gas leak in the house. So we got to deal with that on Christmas Eve. And what was crazy about that, it's like, when you have the HVAC guy come, the plumber come, there's always something else that's wrong. They get in there and they're like, hey, I want to show you something. When's the last time you thought about this water heater? Huh? I'm surprised this passed the inspection. You're going to get 3 months out of this water heater at most. And I'm like, guy, no, this is Christmas Eve. You're here to fix the gas leak. Just take care of that and let's move on with our lives. HVAC guy, same thing, trying to hit you with the upsell. Oh, did you see what's wrong with this humidifier? Have you ever had this thing? No, just take care of the second gas leak, and let's move on with our holiday here. You can hit me with the upsells and, the add-ons at any other time. But if I'm paying the emergency prices here, just come in, do the job. Let us get through the next few days. Let us get the hot water back on in the house so we can get the kids cleaned up for grandmas. Let us turn the furnace back on. And, in January, you can hit us with anything that you want to try and pitch us on.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you think that thing is only going to last for 3 more months, well, then I guess I'll see you in 3 months. So we'll make sure we get that on the calendar as soon as we need to, and not a minute more, not till it breaks. Look,
you keep your phone on. Yeah.
I'm ride it till the wheels come off with that stuff. All right. Look, if at some point, maybe that happens, but I don't, I'll get my preventative in there. I'll get my yearly checkups on it. But look, I'm riding it until I start hearing crazy sounds and smoke.
Yeah, I'm not going to say, oh, you know what I need on Christmas Eve to spend another $1,200 and have you here for another hour and a half. That's what I want with my holiday. It's just extra work.
Yeah. I have by the way, another weird Christmas thing that is, I don't know how much I ever paid attention to this or really cared before I was a dad. I don't know why I care about it now. I had a neighbor put Christmas lights up on Christmas Eve. Like
what?
With the whole month of December, This is kind of a regular thing. This happens pretty consistently when basically the whole month of December and then on like the 23rd and on Christmas Eve spent time putting up Christmas lights, like new ones that weren't, that didn't have anything up. And then all of a sudden, bam, right before that. And I don't understand the point. It's okay, man. Like if you chose not to go Christmas lights this year, no one's gonna hate on it. You don't need to get it out there just to light. Is it just to light the house for Santa? Is that what it's about? To make sure Santa's like doesn't skip over because the lack of Christmas spirit coming from it. I don't know if this is a phenomenon. Does anybody else do this, or am I across from pretty much the lone person in the world that puts actual Christmas lights up on Christmas Eve?
I've got a theory about this, and it's that he's got somebody coming over on Christmas Day, and he wants the house to look good for them. Like, yeah, see, I did it too, just like everyone else on the street. I had my lights up, and that's when it's on you to walk across the street and let the guests know, like, hey, he just did this.
He did this.
He doesn't have the spirit in him. No. He hasn't been cheering up everybody on the block with this display. He just put this up for you. It's like turning in your homework, a day late. Doesn't count.
Yeah, I had to do extra lights just to overcompensate for him, essentially.
Even worse than that, though, is I saw somebody yesterday, the day after Christmas, tearing her lights off the house. Like, that's too early. Let us have till New Year. Let us have a little bit more of a season. You don't need to yank those lights down on December 26th. We're still enjoying our gifts, and the kids are still off school. Let's live in the season for a little bit. You haven't even put up the New Year's flag yet, and
I know
we've got people tearing lights down.
I've seen this. So I see this. This is actually a trend that I see where there are people that go full tear down Christmas Day.
Oh,
where like
so
the moment the gifts are open and everybody's done and the sort of, you get into the afternoon on Christmas Day, bam, tree out, lights down, end it. I've seen that before, and people that sort of promote that, and that one has also never made sense to me. I think it's up to each their own where you want to go once you reach once you reach a couple days after. But Christmas Day, live it. It's Christmas Day.
Come on,
at least make it to midnight.
And you know what? I'm even taking a different approach this season with it, because I was always like around New Year's Day, maybe the day after, take all the Christmas stuff down. But kids go back to school later this year. And my wife had a good point. Like, as long as the tree's up, you don't need to start the New Year's resolutions. You can still eat the Christmas cookies on January 2nd if the tree's up. So we might leave it up till the kids go back to school at this point, just to get a few extra days of 2024 and not having to change our lives.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with our St. Patrick's Day tree over here that we have. You're really going to love it. And also, here's a giant pile of chocolate cookies that chocolate chip cookies we keep making. So
who's not on board with that?
Who's not on board? We're all on board with it. The same way we hope you guys will all be on board tomorrow. How's that for a segue? We will be noon, BetMGM, Nation Kitchen and Bar at the Banks. We will be having our live show. Come down, get some giveaways, get some shirts. I'll buy a bar tab. We'll be giving away grater shippers, play some games, ask questions to myself, Jay, Mark. We'll be having a party down there. So if it's raining, you just want to get out of the rain, or you just want to come and have the best time you can have right down on the Banks, right down near the party, where if you're going to the game, come on down. We'll be there from starting at noon for about an hour, and having a lot of fun down there. And then you can go about your day. Go enjoy the game and have a great time. Come have some cheap drinks and party with us, though. We hope to see you on Saturday. All right. And then we'll be back. Jay and I will have the walkout on Saturday night. And then we'll be into the last week of this season. And maybe, just maybe, the Bengals will still be alive for the playoffs. I don't know what that percentage will dwindle down to at that point. Maybe it'll go up. Maybe this will be the weekend where everything starts to fall into place. We don't know. That's why they play the games. But either way, we'll be here for you. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And I will talk to you next time. Have a good one, everybody.